and welcome to the Midweek Expresso. I'm Connolly, and to the right of me is
Daniel Demant.
Today we're on episode 2 of our podcast. If you haven't listened to episode 1, highly recommend it. We sort of graze over a few things that we're going to be discussing in these podcasts. Stuff like being the best you, good mental well-being, and just sort of, making the right choices for yourself.
Yeah, to be more optimum and to be the best, well, as Pierce said, to be the best version as you possibly can be. Just
a reminder, you're listening to us on Anchor.fm. If you are enjoying this podcast or any of our other podcasts, please do let people know, share it around. We want to try and build a community of like-minded people here.
Oh, yes.
Or everyone who's looking to get into self-improvement, or if you're just interested about this sort of thing, do give us a follow and a share around.
Yeah, share with your friends and even share with your nan and your little niece. Why not? Start them early, get them optimal health knowledge.
Yeah.
And where can they also follow us on social media?
They can follow us on Twitter, Instagram or Facebook. You can find us at Midweek Expresso. We're quite active. If you've got any questions or you want to get in touch, please do so.
Yeah, so today we're talking about sleep. Obviously, there's so many areas of sleep we could talk about. We could dissect it to death if we could. So, excuse me. Dissect it to death. But what me and Piers mainly looked at over this last week or a couple of weeks is looking about the recommended amount of sleep we should have, and also quality over quantity. Obviously, people would say like you should have between 7 and 9 hours sleep, and people try and do that and they still feel tired and they can't work out why, or they go to bed early because we all have heard. I can't talk properly today, listeners. We have all heard of the 5 a.m. club. It's like get up really early, go to bed early, tackle the day. Unfortunately, that doesn't work for everyone.
It's the exclusive club that nobody can be a part of.
Yeah, and there's a very few that can manage to do that. And my research, Piers is going to explain a bit his before I start mine, but just to explain mine. I've been looking to a particular doctor of sleep. His name is Michael Breus.
Brees?
No, that's not that one. Dr. Michael Breus. He's the author of The Power of When, and basically in the title, When Should We Sleep, and what is the best time to sleep. And also he covers things like, what's our thieves, like who robs us at sleep, like stimulants like alcohol, coffee, and when should we have sex, when should we exercise, things like that. So it's very interesting stuff I found, and I'll try to pinpoint, look into his information to pinpoint more about hours of sleep, quality of sleep, and what he recommends. But then when I started looking into it, whole new can of worms opened up, and I try to find it when he's on podcasts and reading some information online, keep it where he's basically just talking about when to go to bed or something around that, or quality of sleep, when to sleep and all that. Whereas I haven't really found any evidence yet. Hopefully I will do. We might come back to this subject as another podcast to open up and dissect and look into other areas what he talks about. I didn't find anything saying, if you're like, because we all know like people are night owls or early birds, and even though he talks about something about genetic predetermined certain genetic characteristics called chronotypes. And there's 4 different kind of chronotypes that we all relate to, and some more than others.
I mean, we've both done the test to find out what chronotype we are. We both came up with the same result. But do you want to explain the different types, and then we'll tell them what type we are?
Yeah, I will do in a second, but mainly that's what his book's around, about your chronotype. But to explain a bit what his book's about, so I've followed or looked at on YouTube some of the information gathered. So it's based on biological hormones. Dr. Breus provides... start again. He looks into our biological hormones. Sorry. Piers, I need to clear my throat. Can you just read the introduction to his book, please?
Yeah, of course. So it's based on our biology and hormones. Dr. Michael Breus proves in The Power of When working with your body's inner clock for maximum health, happiness and productivity is easy, exciting and fun. The Power of When presents a groundbreaking new program for getting back in sync with your natural rhythm by making minor changes to your daily routine. What is your chronotype? Are you a bear, lion, dolphin or wolf? You'll find out the best time to do over 50 different activities, fascinating facts, fun personality quizzes, and easy-to-follow guidelines. The Power of When is the ultimate life hack to help you achieve your goals. And that's the bio of the book there.
Yeah, so so we're going to move on to chronotypes. So as I mentioned, there's 4 different types of chronotypes.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, so what he's done, as with mammals, he's named 4 types of mammal symbols for 4 different types of chronotypes, which makes sense. We're mammals, why not list those characteristics?
So it's a nice way to sort of relate to animals, yeah.
Yeah, so we got the bear, the wolf, the lion, and the and it's a penguin then, the dolphin. So basically, so the characteristics. So mostly we start with the bear.
Mm-hmm.
So he reckons about 50 to 55% of the population are bears.
Wow.
So they rise and fall with the sun, meaning they're the most active when the sun rises, and when the sun goes down, they're not as much.
Yep.
They are the glue to society. They love to get things done. They're extrovert and open-minded people, fun to be around. They love being inside enjoyable groups. Hope that makes sense. And mostly society is built around these schedules. So basically saying, so that's just bullet points from a podcast that he was doing on YouTube. By the way, if we put all the links where we found his information, so anyone can look a bit more into it themselves. So basically saying like most of the population are like bears, where the whole 9 to 5 to job, that's when you're meant to be the most productive. So that's 9 to 5 meetings at Monday morning after weekend bender. You're meant to turn up and be productive. Brain's meant to be switched on. So he's saying like the most characteristics of humans are bears. So society, is around bears. So next we have the wolf. I don't think this is in this order, but this is how I've written it down. So the wolf is like your night owl. So only 15 to 20% of the population are wolves.
Wow.
They normally are slow in the mornings and sluggish, and more active later in the day. They get more creative late at night, and they are out of the box thinkers. They crave variety. Am I saying that right?
Variety, yeah.
Variety, and they are risk takers. Don't follow patterns, but make it look amazing. They don't follow society patterns, but they make it look like amazing. Make it look amazing. I'm not sure what they're making look
Would you
amazing.
like me to read that?
No, it's fine. I think he's trying to say they don't follow patterns, but they make it like it's effortlessly. They can be a bit like go with the flow kind of thing. I think that's what that means. And they're socially, they're introverted and deeply loyal friends. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So lions. So these would be like your early birds. So again, he's mentioned 15-20%. So it's the same percentage as the wolf, which is not surprising there that he's trying to. It's the mirror opposite each other, but they got the same percentage. So the early morning enthusiastic people, they only rely on a minimum amount of sleep drive, which I'm not sure what that means yet. That's the idea of us doing this research to look into it a bit further later on. They're go-getters, they're leaders, and also the most CEOs are lions. Lightly prioritise fitness and heavily prioritise health and fitness. They like to make a plan and stick to it, and they go to bed early. Now, dolphins, the fourth one.
Mm-hmm.
Only 10% of the population, light sleepers. They have erratic sleep schedules, short sleep drive. They crave large bouts of sleep, even prone to napping throughout the day, or want to nap throughout the day. Maybe self-diagnosed as a insomniac, highly intelligent, a tendency to obsess compulsively, and can be fast-talking. I think I'm a dolphin. Fast-talking, fast-thinking, and like to research a lot, and they're fun to be around. So that is the chronotypes. And
so just give us a quick little conclusion. What are the 4 types of chronotypes?
So that is the bear, which is the majority of the population.
Yeah.
The wolf, which is your night owls. The lion, which is your early birds, and the dolphin, which they're just like in between. Well, in a league of their own, looks like it. But I found when I looked into it, sort of wolves and dolphins are kind of similar. So after reading this information, I decided to take this test on the Power of When quiz.
We'll leave this link somewhere for you to do the quiz yourself.
And I found out by the end of it, I'm a dolphin, which we'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. And did you take the quiz?
You sent the link on to me and asked me to do the test in preparation for this very moment. And I also got a dolphin, which is quite interesting because obviously they say only 10% of the populations are a dolphin. And the fact that we both got it, and somebody else that I know just did the test, and they also got a dolphin. So it's quite interesting.
Oh.
Yeah. But it's really interesting to see how much of your character is actually reflected in that. Because I'm not going to lie, I was quite sceptical of the test. But it's definitely worth doing. And there's nothing saying that if you want to change your chronotype, you could potentially change your sleep habits to say if you're a dolphin and you want to become a lion. Who's to say you can't do that?
Well, did you read that? Because I was going to talk about that. Actually, did you read that?
No, I didn't read it.
Oh, wait, because he does talk about he doesn't recommend changing your chronotype. If you can try and stick to it, that'd be the best thing because you're working with your genetics.
Yeah.
But he does say there's a way around it, which he did talk about a little bit on the video with the link I'm going to share at the end of this and in this podcast. Yes, he does talk. My stomach there, if you heard that, a bit hungry. Yes, he does talk about changing it. But what do you think the pros, pitfalls, and problems you think people reading this and thinking, right, I'm going to become my chronotype, even if they've got the book? Because the idea of doing the quiz was then you get the book. And then trying to
buy the book. Yeah.
But one thing he does mention, even though I said you read the basically the description of the book. That he says, if one thing you're going to take away from this book is trying to match your chronotype, at least that get your sleep schedule in check, so you're like your circadian rhythm and everything comes into balance. And forget about all the 49 other tips. If you can get that one cracked first, and everything else will follow naturally, probably. But what do you see the problems with this? People reading this and then trying to implement this into their lives.
Well, for example, again, I think we discussed this very briefly in the last episode. If you're a 9-to-5 worker, it's very easy to keep that rhythm. As humans, we love patterns. It's implemented into us as children. We love patterns. We love repetition because it's easy. We know what's going to happen. It's less stress. But say, for example, you're a shift worker, like myself. It's very tough to stick to a certain rhythm or routine, especially when it comes to sleep. So there's certain things you can do to mitigate the sort of problems that come into that. So if you are a shift worker, you're more likely going to be a dolphin or a wolf. I've got some tips that you can try to. Do
you mean a lion or wolf, like early bird versus late?
No, if you're a shift worker, you'd most likely probably be a night owl. Depending on what times your shifts are.
I thought what you mean like it'd be a lion or a wolf because shift patterns rather early or late kind of thing. Well, you get mids as well, don't you?
Yeah. Although the lion's sort of more of a leadership role, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, early birds like.
Yeah, that's very true. So the tips I've come across, I've tried to do a few on myself, but it's very, very hard when you've got different shifts at different times of the day to actually implement these strategies. But say, for example, one of these tips is try and get yourself on a shift that's regular. It's either at the same time, finishing at the same time every day.
Finish at the same time, finish at the same time.
So start at the same time every day, finish at the same time every day.
By the way, as Pyrrhus is pulling up his notes, I'll just let you know that he's comparing to what I found about the chronotypes and how this relates into like shift patterns. That's what's going on, in case we didn't mention that. Sorry.
Yeah, we sort of get into a conversation. And
we start a conversation not explaining what bit we're moving on to. That's what we're here. We're here to learn to mistakes, become better.
Exactly. Okay, so some tips if you are a shift worker listening to this and you want to get some better sleep. Try and go to sleep and get up at the same time every day, even if your shift isn't starting till later. This includes weekends. So say you work Monday to Friday, but you've got varying shift times. Still try and get up and go to bed at the same time every day, because that is a brilliant way to kick your circadian rhythm into check. Avoid sleeping in, obviously, as I said, even at the weekends, because then that kicks that rhythm out completely. If you are going to take naps, just be smart about it. It's a good way to make up for lost sleep, but if you have trouble staying asleep at night, napping can definitely make things worse. I'd say 15 to 20 minutes maximum if you're going to nap, and no later than maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If you've just had dinner and you get a bit drowsy, like you have Christmas dinner and you get a bit sleepy afterwards, just do something mildly stimulating. Wash the dishes up, call a friend, get your clothes ready for the next day. If you give in to the drowsiness and you go to sleep, you might end up waking up in the middle of the night, and then you'll have trouble getting back to sleep. I know we all have problems with that, don't we?
Obviously, it's more stuff I can read.
Yeah.
I'll just pick on something Pierce said about the napping. What's interesting I found with Dr. Michael Breus, make sure I say his name properly, and then if he ever hears this in the future, I do apologise for the mumbling of words at the beginning of the podcast. But yeah, he talks about a tip called the which combines caffeine and napping in a day. Yeah. Now, he doesn't recommend to do this every time. He said if you feel like you would charge better from a nap, you try not to do it every day if you're going to, but don't always rely on caffeine and the nap. And he called it his Napa Latte. So basically, you get I would say some sort of high fuel petrol coffee, like a shot, like an espresso of that coffee. He said he prefer if you use drip coffee. So you get the shot, put a couple of ice cubes, shake it around like a cocktail, down it, make your way to your resting place, give yourself 5 minutes to go to sleep, and put 20 minutes to 25 minutes for nap time. And apparently, as your adenosine gets recharged, caffeine kicks in, and it's meant to give you a good 4 to 5 hours of energy, but bring it. It doesn't. I tried this a few times this week actually, and it does actually work. And I tried it.
Because they say it takes about 20 minutes for the caffeine to kick in, don't they?
Anyway, yeah. I mean, the one thing he didn't cover, which he didn't cover or hasn't mentioned, he probably does in his book, but what I found online, he doesn't mention if you're got a fast or slow metabolism of caffeine, which I know genetically, because I did a genetic test not too long ago, that I've got a fast metabolism of caffeine. So if I have it, I feel the benefits quite quick. It hasn't. But then if you after 20 minutes, that's quite fast, because some people don't feel the caffeine hit after 40 to an hour. Then they feel the caffeine, so they've got a slow one. I'm not going to go too much into it, why that is and how that can benefit you, but it doesn't mention that. But the point is that it's meant to give you energy. But what he says, he's not going to suddenly think you're going to run a marathon energy. It's just bringing you up to like a good balance. Well, as we all want to feel, is not actually we're going to run 100 miles every day, but just normal alertness. So you can tackle the next 4 or 5 hours of your day, especially if you've got like a meeting coming up or an important creative target, creativity thing you need to do, or some like you got to hit those study books as for students and stuff. So that's what he recommends, but don't do it every day, basically. So try and like spread it out. Maybe only use it 3 times a week. I only use it for those emergency key things. But he doesn't say, it doesn't rule out if you like a nap in the afternoon. Don't do that. He doesn't say try not to do it every day, but if you're going to, try and pick the days when you use the caffeine, basically. Yeah, and
talking of obviously going back to the whole napping, obviously try and keep it at a minimum, especially don't take a nap in the mid-afternoon onwards, because then you will wake up and you won't be able to get back to sleep. So some other little tips actually for if you are a shift worker, just going back to that quickly. Say, for example, you're at work, you might not work in the brightest of lit places. Try and expose yourself to as much sunlight as possible during the day, because you get that vitamin D, it gives you a little boost. It's lovely.
But one thing I was going to say with that is quickly, just with the sunlight, it's not okay. We live in the UK, so this time of year we're not always going to get the pure sun coming through the cloud. But I think the point is to get out in daylight.
Yes.
So just switch that. Just remember to get out in daylight. I mean, the sun's there is a bonus. Remember that, guys. The sun's always there. It's just behind the clouds and the dew on the rain in the wet.
It's motivational quotes.
Yeah. So it's This is the point of just getting outside in the fresh air in daylight.
So, say for example your shift is at night and you might not be able to get the light you need because you have to sleep during the day. What I would recommend is getting some blackout blinds and just shutting out the sun completely when you're trying to sleep. And then when you are at work in the night time, what you need to do is get yourself a light therapy box, or actually a lot of companies actually offer sort of a warmer light than the harsher colours that you'd usually find in an industrial place, that actually sort of replicate the sunlight in their sort of colour temperature. So you can artificially give yourself that light that you need. It won't have the vitamin D in it, but it will still have the same effect.
It's like blue light from the screen, isn't it?
Yeah,
give your serotonin levels up.
So yeah, it's basically
not serotonin.
You have sort of night
serotonin.
Yeah. So it's a sort of warmer light than that colder, harsher lights that you need.
And if any blind companies are interested in sponsoring us, Piers, maybe we could do a shameless plug here. Just at the bottom there.
What's that there? Oh, meritblinds.co.uk.
Yeah, so Merit Blinds want to get behind us and maybe give a distant code to listeners and create some more business for them and maybe get a bit of sponsorship. Who knows? Anyway,
give
carry
us
on.
Blackout blinds.
Yeah, give us a blackout blind. Piers wants some blackout blinds. So, yeah. I've got some already, so I'm good.
Yeah. Another little tip. I know it's so tough because I personally can't do this. I can't commit to this. I'm only human. But avoiding bright screens within 1 to 2 hours of your bedtime.
I just want to, before you go into it, the only thing I found that a lot of even these health professionals say 2 hours is unrealistic.
It is.
Because especially, maybe not so unrealistic if you've got a girlfriend or a friend that you can have a conversation with, you can switch off the TV, you can just, I don't know if you can jar for about 2 hours, or
listen to music or something.
Oh yeah, but put some music on, chat with your friend, or if it's a girlfriend, same thing, and the sexy time part of it's always a bonus. But most of the health professionals saying hour if you can, but the very, very, very minimum, at least 30 minutes. Just make sure you've done your checklist for the day, you set your alarm, which is another discussion about you don't need an alarm, but we're going to another podcast, or maybe later today. It's the idea of once you get in the rhythm pattern, as Piers mentioned, you shouldn't need an alarm. Well, he didn't mention you don't need an alarm, but your body should get in the rhythm that your alarm should be on your backup, should be a necessary used thing to alarm to get you up, as well as your girlfriend to get you up. And what am I talking about?
You're talking about
blue
screen,
blue
light.
So 30 minutes. I mean, come on, we all can do 30
yeah.
minutes. And if you don't have a girlfriend, you live by yourself, it should be,
it usually takes 30 minutes to fall asleep anyway.
And just so before, if it's the 35 minute until you go to sleep, the next 5 minutes, just check your phone, check off any your social media, close down your app, set your alarm, any last minute notes you need to make.
Yeah.
Maybe if you go past that 5 minutes, go right, 30 minutes before I'm going to go to sleep, And if you think any last minute things, have a pen and paper or a pad, so just write it down. In that time, obviously, whatever your bedtime routine, like brush your teeth, have a stretch, or look at the stars, who knows? But make sure at least give yourself 30 minutes of no screen time, basically.
So another little tip, actually. If you are going to get up during the night, say you need to get up, use the toilet, etc., keep the lights to a minimum. There's a lot of smart home tech that you can use now that's actually designed for this. So it's sort of low-level lighting, so you can see where you're going, but that's it. You don't need that stimulating light. If anything, it's going to wake you up more. So ideally, you want to get in and out, back to sleep. Another tip, again, might not be realistic for some people, but try and exercise during the day. Sometimes, like myself, shift workers, you're on your feet for your whole shift, so that's absolutely fine. You get those endorphins going just naturally. However, if you can't, it's just try and stand up at your desk if you're working at a desk, or in your dinner break, your lunch break. Just try and go out, walk to the shops and get something rather than just sticking something in the microwave. It might be more expensive, but in the end, it's better.
You're talking about ready meals. You're not talking about food you prepared yourself with just heating up.
Yeah, exactly. Those lovely salt-filled ready meals that we all pretend that we don't eat, but everyone does.
Well, I don't.
That's because you're special. You've got a special power of nutrition. You do. Okay, so talking about food. Actually, my next tip is you need to be smart about what you eat and drink. So as we were saying, limit caffeine, also nicotine, because that's a stimulant.
Alcohol.
Alcohol as well. Avoid big meals at night. So try and make dinner early in the evening, because if you think about it, you don't need the calories you're eating with a big dinner for your sleep. You need it earlier on in the day when you're actually going to be using your energy.
But that might fall down if you go to work, you train at the gym.
Yeah, and then you need that repair, yeah.
But also you should place your meals out accordingly to that.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Also, I know I in particular need a lot of water a day to hydrate myself, a little bit more than average actually. I need probably about 3 to 4 litres a day. But you definitely should avoid drinking too many liquids in the evening, because
be peeing on it.
Exactly, it results in a lot of toilet trips. Also, you should definitely cut back on sugary foods and refined carbs.
That's a given. I think everyone knows that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, stuff like bread, white rice, pasta, it can trigger wakefulness at night and pull you out of a deep sleep. But as we were saying earlier, you should definitely take that time, maybe that half an hour, just to wind down and clear your head before you sleep. It's just a really nice way to sort of de-stress yourself. It might sound a bit, do this, do that, but a bit of yoga maybe, or meditation just before bed.
I mean, there's so many. I'm gonna keep if there's any more to come up from your research, but I mean, there's so many things we can do. The only thing that I can, and I'm still guilty of doing this myself and not following it through properly, as in just trying to replace or add something in your bedtime routine and find if it works. And what actually many other research I found, especially Michael Breus, he always says, like, just change one thing, see if it works. It's part of your routine. If
Absolutely.
It doesn't, take it out. After a week, it should be enough. Because he even talks about finding that, your chronotype, adjusting the way you sleep when you rest around your chronotype. After a week, you should see a pro or con, like a benefit or non-beneficial by changing.
Yeah. So talking about calming yourself, if you wake up during the night, there's some tips to get back to sleep, because I don't know about you, but if I wake up during the night and I've had a little bit of sleep, my brain starts to get stimulated and I start going through things.
If you wake up in the middle of the night,
your
mind doesn't just want to go back to sleep.
Really? Oh, you're quite lucky there. So if I wake up in the morning, I like to go back to sleep. But
see, this is another thing.
Yeah.
That, I mean, I didn't really do too much research on saying that people that are dolphins or whatever.
Yeah.
He does talk about saying that they find that they can go to sleep or struggle going to sleep. That's what I said about the insomnia side of things. Because there's different types of insomnia. I didn't know there's 4 to 5 different types of insomnia, and I'm the one that can go to sleep, but I wake up a lot.
Yeah.
The thing I found that whenever I wake up in the night, if it's 2 or 3 times, say before 4:30 in the morning, I feel like I've already slept plenty.
Yeah.
Now we get into the 6 o'clock mode when we're meant to be getting up between 6 and 7. I feel like I need to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
So believe me, listeners, the nightmare continues.
The real living nightmare.
Yeah.
So as hard as it may be, if you need to get back to sleep, you need to stay out of your head, because that sort of stress just encourages your body to stay awake. It's that fight or flight response ultimately, and it brings your adrenaline up, and then you can't get back to sleep. And a really good tip, because obviously if you're sat there thinking I need to get to sleep, you end up stressing over it, and then you wake up. So your goal should be relaxing, not sleeping. So if you think, right, I'm just going to sort of breathe, close my eyes, take a few deep breaths, and then eventually you will get back to sleep. Yeah. What you should do if you wake up with say, like for me, for example, if I wake up in the middle of the night, my brain's on go, it's thinking about a project that I need to work on, you should try and limit all your brainstorming, as hard as it may be, and it is hard. You need to just make a little note of the idea you're thinking of, and put all that brainstorming aside for the next day or a future time. But that again, that is easier said than done. Another little tip would be
just to prep yourself for sleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So improving your sleep environment before you go to sleep. So keep noise to a minimum. Make sure your room is a nice temperature, nice and cool. 18 degrees Celsius is the recommended temperature. Make sure you've got a comfy bed. A lot of people aren't happy with their beds. I'm not happy with mine.
And you're meant to change it every 7 or 8 years, apparently. Mattress.
7 to 8 years. Oh, there you go. Definitely reserve your bed for sleeping. See, again, all of these are so much easier said than done. But if you reserve your bed for sleeping only and you don't sit in it on your laptop or whatever,
sleeping sex in it. Come on.
Yeah,
it's 2 S's.
Then you'll get distracted and start doing work, and then your mind will start thinking that your bed isn't just for sleeping.
I mean, that's the ideal scenario for everyone. I think that's easy if you live on your own and you've got like a
And you've done this
house or something.
Repetition for years and years, because I mean, all of those points are very. You might be sat here thinking, "How am I going to do that?" It's all very much easier said than done. We struggle to do it, but I mean, this is what this podcast. This is us exploring ways to make ourselves better.
Yeah, so like we're doing the journey with you guys.
Exactly,
so that's the whole point of this. So Piers spoke a lot about prep before sleep.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move on to some stuff we don't realise what we do during the day.
Yeah.
That actually robs ourselves for sleep throughout the day. Things that we do that sabotage ourselves. So, Michael Berg, Michael Berg, that's the other guy, isn't it? Michael Breus, sorry. He talks about the 4 top hacking tricks that we could do during the day. Hacking tricks? Is that a word? Hacking tricks. Yeah. Okay. So, mention caffeine. So, remember, caffeine has a half-life after 6 to 8 hours. So if you're having 100 milligrams, you have 50 milligrams left. So whenever you consume it, make sure try not to consume it like anymore. So if you're going to go to bed at 10, stop drinking at 2 o'clock, basically. Like that. And so it gives it time to flush out your system. And another interesting tip, it's not part in these notes, but I remember he's saying if you overdone it with maybe an extra cup of coffee, or if you had one a little bit later, so you had one at 12, then you had your second one at 3, and you think, I'm going to go bed at 10. Apparently having broccoli helps to pour some of the caffeine out of your system.
Oh, interesting.
But he does say he doesn't really know, there's not enough data knowing why, but a lot of people reported that they actually sleep better from caffeine users. So when they have broccoli, they feel like that, even though they're doing the same thing, but when they have broccoli in the evening, they found that their sleep's improved.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
But he says he doesn't have the data yet, but they're still looking into it. There's no being real actual test runs, but I mean, I eat broccoli, not necessarily at dinner, but I might try and see if that helps.
You're quite nutritionally let's try that again. Nutritionally conscious, you are, aren't you?
Yes. I think I've had a bit too much fibre today. That's my stomach playing up. That's another tip, guys. Be careful with your fibre intake. We get told we don't have enough. I think I have too much, and that could go the other way.
Not too much fruit.
Well, it's not even the fruit. It's the fibrous roughage of the grains. Even though I shouldn't have many grains. But anyway, it's a subject for another time. Maybe we do a nutritional podcast sooner or later. I don't know. I'm doing this voice. Back to this. Anyway, so timing too. So that's about coffee timing. So basically, like, and also one thing I mentioned that I can remember said about wolf people, chronotypes of wolves. That they're better at having their caffeine between 12 and 2.
Oh, really?
So like if you get up at 6 or 7. Just hydrate, eat well, get daylight, work standing up, because we're all a bit sluggish. Because I still think I'm a cross between, I'm a hybrid apparently. That sounds so cool. Between a dolphin and a wolf.
You're a wolf dolphin, aren't you?
I'm a wolf dolphin, So I'm not really sure, 100% sure where I sit on that yet. Look into it a bit more. But
just quickly, it's interesting that you say hydrate yourself in the morning, because when there's this sort of ritual tradition where people will have a coffee in the morning. So the most of the time, the reason why you feel tired is because obviously we're not drinking during our sleep, so we're dehydrated. So a glass of water instead of a cup of coffee in the morning is probably better for you.
I mean, I don't know what 12 ounces is. Is that like 600 millilitres? Because it's always normally a half ounces, and I could be wrong with that. Hopefully, I'm not entirely sure. I'm thinking pounds and dollars, aren't I? So I mean, it's just common sense. I mean, a lot of people make a mistake, regardless if you've got a slow or fast metabolism to caffeine, then they get up, don't even have a glass of water, straight to tea or coffee, and it's the worst thing you can do. At least give yourself an hour before you touch that coffee. Do you know what I mean? Or caffeine, whatever it is, if it's chocolate or something.
Have a couple of glasses
whatever
of
stimulant
water,
you're having, not alcohol, because you won't get anything done. Trying to... try to... So I just... The mic's picked me up properly there. Yeah, try and have some water. At least give yourself an hour to 90 minutes at least before you start touching the caffeine. So, tip number 2, timing of alcohol. So basically, in Kids One Short and Sweet, we know what alcohol does. But so basically, what he's saying, if we drink, we're not being. This is not taking account binge drinking, because I think all bets are off after I just read this bit of information. So basically, 1 glass for 1 hour, leaving your body of alcohol.
Yep.
Does that make sense? Or
I'm with you.
So if you have a glass at 9 o'clock, you can't go to bed till 11 o'clock.
Yep.
So you're going to add on an hour. So each glass of alcohol. But he does this around wine. I don't know what it means for beer.
It's probably quite similar,
because it's
done on units, isn't it?
Units, yeah. So this, that's one good tip to remember. And actually did that the other night when I had 2 glasses of wine. I couldn't go to bed till midnight.
2 glasses, 2 bottles, more like.
No, that business. Those days are behind me. what else have we got here? So, back to exercise is the reason why. Sorry, back to the alcohol. Sorry, just very briefly, is the reason why we need to allow the alcohol go through our system to process properly. And yes, everyone goes, I have, including coffee. I have coffee or alcohol and I go to sleep fine. Yes, you may pass out, but you're not getting proper deep sleep.
Yeah.
And funny enough, he mentions also in this Google chat. What do you call it? Google chat? The thing?
Yeah.
I watched, He said that it's amazing how many people just don't care about their sleep. As in, like they know the dangers. They know.
But they still do it anyway.
They still do it. Like the blue screens, the stimulants too late, alcohol late at night. Taking heroin, it's a recipe for disaster. Yeah. So basically, he's saying that just you got to honour that process. To go through the system, and timing is everything. So just bear in mind, add another hour on after you finish that one glass of alcohol. So, exercise. Basically saying that try and do 20 to 30 minutes every day. That helps improve the length of deep sleep. But what he's not saying is go and kill yourself doing HIIT training every day. Just make sure it's moderate exercise, basically. As Pierre said before, plenty of light, sun exposure. Mm-hmm. And as I already mentioned, and I'm probably just repeating myself a little bit here, is just don't try and avoid any blue screens, any phones, TVs, tablets, whatever you use to involve blue screens, not to cut off 30 minutes before you're due. Yeah. You want to be asleep. Mm-hmm. So to summarise, don't drink coffee after 2 o'clock. Don't drink alcohol right before bed. Yep. Make sure you have a glass of water per glass of alcohol. 20 to 25 minutes of moderate exercise every day. Absolutely. And put your phone away 30 minutes before sleep.
Absolutely. So since we're getting near the end of this episode, just thought we'd give because we're going to come back to sleep in the future.
Oh yes.
So I thought it'd be a good idea if we let our listeners know where we are now in terms of our own sleep patterns and struggles with sleep, and all the advice we've given you today, we're going to take on ourselves and try and put it into our own lives and see what it does. So tell me about your sleep schedule. What do you do the night before, during, and then after sleep?
Let's stop with this. It's not advice, it's research.
Research.
Yeah, so what I've taken from this and what I'm currently doing. So what I'm currently doing at the moment, what I was currently doing, I was trying to go to bed at 10 o'clock, sleep by 10 o'clock, and getting up at 6. I think it was kind of working for me, and I've now changed it back to I'm not going to go to bed too close to midnight, go about 6:30, and it seems to be going wrong. Yeah. So I'm on a mission to find out what's my optimal sleeping time, but I'm going to try and listen to my body a bit more, as in the sense of like not go to bed too early, but not go to bed too late. But what I find, so in my sleep habits at the moment, so I'll go between, let's say 10 and 12 at the moment. No, 10 and half 11, and normally my alarm's set for like 6:30. But I'm still finding I'm still waking up at least 3 times a night. Yeah. And that's really annoying me, because one thing Michael Breus does talk about is saying the idea of honouring your chronotype along with the daily hacks you can do and stuff like that, and hacks and habits you can do, is that we really shouldn't be waking up more than once or not at all. Yeah. Apparently, no matter what chronotype you are, when we go to sleep, we shouldn't be waking up. We should be sleeping straight through until we need to get up to be refreshed. Now, a lot of people argue with that. I wake up loads of times and I'm fine and what have you. But and same for those people who have like a million coffees before they go to sleep. It's
silly.
But so that's interesting. I mean, one day hopefully I can wait and go, hey, I don't wake up at all, or I may wake up once. That's my goal, to figure out what my chronotype is and how realistically can I implement it into my life. That's what I'm planning on doing real soon. So how do you feel, Piers? What do you think? What are you going to do?
Well, at the moment, when I'm working, I have to get up very, very early, so I usually get all the stuff ready the night before, try and take that stress out in the morning, so I'm just up, ready, out the door as quickly as possible. It'll be interesting to see how I can implement sort of this research in my own sleep schedule.
What one? The one I found, or the one?
The one you found, because it's
the chronotype habits.
And also a sort of combination of mine as well, because it's very erratic, my sleep at the moment, so it'd be really nice to get that under control.
Do you think, because at the moment I'm not working shift patterns, but like as yourself working shift patterns, do you think, say like you did the test today and it said you're a dolphin, do you think you can really push yourself towards to be a dolphin? because it's remember
Yeah.
remember what I said, like he did say like
You gotta
dolphins
stick
and
with your
wolf.
chromatin,
Yeah, but he also said that dolphins and wolves are kind of a bit of a crossover.
Yeah,
almost.
yeah.
So
Who knows? I might end up being a wolf.
yeah,
We'll see.
okay.
But just to sort of conclude, obviously we've spoken a lot about things you can do to improve. There's so many like 30-day challenges you can do on sleep. But I think what we're going to do is, after our 6th episode, we're going to look back at all the stuff we've covered and set ourselves a 30-day challenge based on one of those topics.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that 30 days, we'll record another podcast and give you the results and if it's worked for us or if it hasn't worked for us.
And as the buff dudes on YouTube say, flex and no flex. So basically, yes or no, does it really work, and how easy was it to implement?
Yeah.
It'd be nice if one of us, it's not nice, I'm not saying one of us should have a kid, but because we're both kind of kid-free people, but we are very soon to live work different work schedules. So, and apparently, like when we did that test today, you said that we're both the same chronotype. So yeah. But then we had different work patterns, so it'd be interesting if we decide overall, we're definitely this. So we're going to try and run with that. I think some of the stuff that Piers mentioned about shift workers, what some tips there, which are very similar to what Michael Breus says. Yeah. See what happens. So we might pick that, but we will let you know what we're going to do. Yeah. So just to sign off, you are listening now. Where are they listening, Piers?
You're listening on anchor.fm.
And where can they follow us on social media?
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
And what is our handle?
It's at Midweek Expresso.
It definitely is. Well, guys, thanks for listening. We're off to join the wonderful Wizard of Oz. So thanks for listening. Stay sharp, stay fresh, and stay clean. That's all I can say.
Thank you for listening, guys. See you next time.
And see you next time.